In this episode of Cold Case Chronicle, case number 105, we explore one of the most baffling missing persons cases in recent history, the mysterious disappearance of Brandon Swanson. A late-night call for help, a 47-minute conversation, and a sudden scream into silence. What happened to Brandon that night in rural Minnesota? Let's unravel the timeline, examine the clues, and try to piece together this chilling puzzle. Picture this: driving home late at night. You're a little tired, maybe running on adrenaline. Then it happens. You accidentally drive your car into a ditch. Naturally, you call your parents for help. You stay on the phone with them, talking, guiding them toward you for nearly an hour. And then, out of nowhere, you scream, and the line goes dead. Terrifying, right? That's the true story of Brandon Swanson. Today, we're taking a deep dive into his mysterious disappearance. We're going to walk through the timeline, examine the details, and try to make sense of what happened on the night of May 14, 2008. Brandon was 19 years old, a college student at Minnesota West Community and Technical College. The semester had just ended, so he was celebrating with friends. He went to 2 parties that night. The first one was nearby, in Lind, just about 7 miles from his home in Marshall, Minnesota. Later, he drove roughly 40 minutes to a second party in Canby. When he left the party in Canby around midnight, he was driving alone in his Chevy Lumina. Friends said he'd been drinking, but didn't appear intoxicated when he left. Not stumbling, not slurring. And he knew this route. It should have been a familiar drive home, but something went very wrong. About 1:45 a.m., nearly 2 hours after leaving the party, Brandon called his parents, Brian and Annette Swanson. He told them he'd driven into a ditch, but he reassured them he wasn't hurt, just stuck. He believed he was somewhere between Lind and Marshall, maybe 30 minutes from home. So his parents jumped in their car and headed to where he described. But when they got there, no sign of him. They couldn't find him anywhere. Brian called Brandon back. They were both on the phone, parked where they thought the other was, but neither could see headlights. They honked their horns, flashed their lights, nothing. Brandon was adamant he'd given them the right directions. You can imagine the frustration on both ends. This was the first big red flag. Brandon wasn't where he thought he was. In fact, he wasn't even close. Eventually, Brandon told his parents he was going to leave the car. He saw lights in the distance. He figured that must be Lind, and said he'd walk toward them. He stayed on the phone with his mom as he walked. That call lasted 47 minutes. Walking in the dark, still talking to his mother, still trying to get closer to the lights. And then, suddenly, he said, "Oh shit," and the call went dead. His dad tried calling him back over and over. No answer, straight to voicemail. The next morning, around 6:30 a.m., his parents reported him missing. But because Brandon was 19, legally an adult, the police didn't treat it with immediate urgency. Eventually, phone records were pulled, and here's where everything shifted. The cell tower data placed Brandon near Taunton, about 25 miles away from where he believed he was. That's a huge distance. Later that afternoon, they found his car near Taunton, stuck on the edge of a field. The doors were open, the keys were gone. But there were no clear tracks around the car to show where he'd gone. Search dogs were brought in. They picked up Brandon's scent, leading away from the car through an abandoned farmstead, across fields, and to the edge of the Yellow Medicine River. The dogs indicated the scent went into the river, but also came out on the other side and continued along a gravel road before fading. River was searched extensively, but no trace of Brandon was found. No body, no clothing, no belongings. Some have speculated that Brandon may have fallen into an old, unmarked well while crossing those dark fields, a theory that could explain the sudden "oh shit" and the abrupt end of the call. But there's no confirmed evidence of this. It remains one of many possible explanations. Despite intensive searches, on foot, with helicopters, search dogs, drones, sonar, Brandon has never been found. But from this tragedy came a powerful legacy: Brandon's Law. Passed in 2009, it requires Minnesota police to begin an investigation immediately when an adult under 21 goes missing, and also for older adults if the disappearance is suspicious. It ensures a faster response, addressing the delays the Swanson family faced. For Brandon's parents, though, the search for answers continues. No memorial service has been held. His mother once said she doubts Brandon will be found in her lifetime. And so the questions remain. Why was he 25 miles off course? What caused that disorientation? And what happened in that chilling final moment, the scream, the silence? As we reflect on Brandon's story, we're left thinking about vulnerability, about how quickly a familiar route can turn unfamiliar, about how someone can simply vanish in the night, and about the painful uncertainty of not knowing. What stands out to you most about Brandon's case? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Got thoughts or theories? Drop them in the comments below. I love hearing from you. See you in the next one.